He's able to get more shots for Ant Edwards. He's able to get more shots for Dante DiVincenzo. He's able to get more shots for Alexander Walker. He's able to get more shots for Naz Reid. These guys stretch the defense, right?
Sure.
These guys absolutely stretch the defense. So because he's able to do that, right? Because he's able to do that, that gives them a weapon that they didn't have. Because Cat wasn't much of a
He couldn't play make like Julius Randle. He could not play make like Julius Randle.
No, he couldn't. So when I think about Oklahoma City, Shai isn't much of a long ball shooter, but he can play in the mid range, 100%. I don't know if I love Alex Caruso as a shooter. I don't love him. I like Alex Caruso as a shooter, but when I think about what Minnesota has, when I think about what Dallas has in terms of shooters, I mean, I think they got better shooters than Alex Caruso.
But I would argue that if Alex Caruso is your fourth or fifth best shooter on your team, you have a very, very good shooting team. And I believe that's where OKC are at.
I'll live with Lou Dort knocking down the long ball and shooting in the mid-range. I'll live with that. I will.
The problem is that you can't live with it when you have a player like Shai on your team, right?
Why not?
Because of the amount of pressure he's going to create. It's not just Lou Dort you have to worry about. You've got four other shooters on that team. So the problem is when you have that much spacing and you have the ability to go big, you have the ability to go small, you have the ability to go 5 out, you have the ability to basically play with whatever lineup you want. There's just too much versatility in this OKC lineup to the point where they can play whatever style they want to play, and they can make you play however you want. They want.
Adrian, you make it sound like I got to pick my poison with Oklahoma City in terms of shooters. No, I don't. No, I do not. If I'm choosing between Shai getting busy and Lou Dort getting busy, yo, I'm putting so much pressure on Shai.
Absolutely.
I will live with Lou Dort shooting all night. If I got to choose between Shai getting busy and I'm helping off of Alex Caruso, I'll live with Alex Caruso shooting. 100%. I can't say that. I can't say that about Klay Thompson. I can't say that about Derek White. I can't say that about those guys.
My point is that you got Chet there. You got Isaiah Joe there. You got. I haven't even talked about Cason Wallace. I haven't even talked about Aaron Wiggins. I haven't even talked about the fact that Jalen Williams can space the floor. Right?
Yeah, I'm not. So I don't love him neither. I think J Dub is more of a scorer than he is a shooter.
Right. But for me, it's whenever I say shooter, I don't mean about your actual ability to shoot. It's more about, are you respectable? Are you respectable enough to the defense to where I have to contest? Right. And every single one of those players you have to respect. Now I know you're not a big fan of Lou Dort shooting at that level, and I can understand that it's not consistent. But I'd say these last 2 years, he's really made progress in terms of being a respectable, consistent shooter in that regard. So with the level of players that OKC have, and they're all young as well, so they're only going to get better. And the fact that Shai just puts so much pressure on the rim, and he's just so crafty to the point where he can get a shot no matter where he wants to be. It just puts so much pressure on any team they go against. And they can play in any way they want, which is so hard to defend. You want to go big? We can go big. You want to go small? We can go small.
But you don't have the big guys. You don't have the big guys. I mean, don't get me wrong. As good as Chet is, right? As good as Chet is, because I think Chet unlocks. I think Chet unlocks something that they don't have, and I can definitely get with that. But when you got to run up on teams that are a little bit more physical, like Minnesota is gonna be, that's gonna be a problem for you guys. Like the Lakers are gonna be. I'm just throwing out teams like Houston is gonna be. When you run up on teams that are gonna be more physical, it's gonna be difficult on those guys. And I listen to you talk to me about Oklahoma City and how they space the floor, which I can get with. I won't argue Shai 16 to 19 feet. I'm comfortable with Shai shooting the long ball. Knock yourself out, brother. But I'm good with that.
So I think out of all the teams that you mentioned there, you living with whatever OKC wants to do, it's still probably a worse option than any other.
No, wait a minute, Adrian, and I want you to keep going, but I'm not living with whatever they want to do. I'm living with shooters like Lou Dort, like Alex Caruso, I'm living with Shea cracking the long ball. I'm good on that.
Right.
I'll live with that. What I'm not living with is I'm not living with Shea getting downhill and getting to the rim. I'm not living with Jalen. I'm not living with Jalen Williams getting to the bucket and living in the mid range. I'm not living with Shea getting to the mid range and living there. No, hell no. We got no shot if that's going on. Absolutely not.
And
no. But I will live with Lou Dort. I'm helping off Lou Dort. I am.
Right.
I'm 100% helping off Lou Dort.
My point on all of this is whatever you think is the worst outcome in terms of the shot you want to give up to OKC.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, there's just so much versatility in that lineup that means that you're going to have to deal with multiple shots you have to give up, not just one. And second of all, that shot you have to give up is probably much, 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 much more of a difficult matchup than the other teams in the West. So for me, when I look at this team, I just think they have everything. And they're so versatile. And another point I forgot to mention, they got one hell of a coach in OKC.
Yes, they do. Wasn't coach of the year?
They got one hell of a coach.
Yeah, they do. 100% they do. So,
and he knows how to scheme players up.
Yes, he does. Good to talk to you, brother. Absolutely.
Good to talk to you.
Breezy, what it be?
Yo, I'm right here. Yo, oh man, I'm gonna be honest with you. Shout out to that last guy. I was gonna say a lot of stuff he was gonna say, but I was putting more emphasis on Hartenstein and how Chet is going to be able to be Chet because of Hartenstein. Because I watch the Knicks a lot or whatever. But I'm a Nets fan. Just getting that out there. I seen Hartenstein with him in the pick and roll. Yep. That's what the West need to be worried about. The pick and roll between Shea and Hartenstein. I watched Jalen Brunson deserves the credit that he gets, but he was able to beat Jalen Brunson because of that pick and roll with Hartenstein. And to my knowledge, OG, the pick and roll is the most used offense in the NBA. Is that fair to say?
Everybody doing it. If you're not doing it, then something's wrong.
Word. So I think because they probably going to be one of the better pick and roll teams, I like them. But just narrative wise, I like Randall being mad on Minnesota. I like him next to Ant-Man. I like DiVincenzo being mad. I like them being upset. I like them having something to prove. I like Cat not being there because he let Rudy Gobert get choked out. I like somebody like Randall there, like, yo, little Rudy, man. I would never let that happen to you, my brother.
No way. Ain't no way he let Draymond Green jump on him like that. Ain't no way that's happening. Julius is like, no way. Julius getting thrown out of that game.
So all right. Just that element of it, Chill, I want to ask you. Just the whole Cat letting Rudy getting choked out. Randall, the certain toughness, because toughness is not necessarily a stat you see in the box score. Do you think the toughness of Randall and, I don't know, maybe the chemistry between him and DiVincenzo helps them be a top 4 team in the West with the Wolves?
I still got them at the top of the West. And I think that DiVincenzo gives them an element that they didn't have. Another element that they didn't have. And that's another long ball shooter. A guy who could stretch the defense, and you got a perimeter defender in DiVincenzo. So I already got Alexander Walker, right? I got Ant. I got Mike Conley. So now I'm adding DiVincenzo, who can shoot the ball too, who can also defend. And that's what our mantra was last year. We were hard-nosed, tough-nosed, tough defensive team. And I'm adding DiVincenzo, a Northeast guy, to that lineup. Yes, I love what that is. And Julius Randle being the bully that he is, yes, I love that.
Yeah, I just, because I seen your guys swipe or pull out the board about the Knicks and how they can make it work and this and that. So I just kind of want to make it hurt real quick. Thank you, sorry.
Help you.
I got you. I just wanted to ask, can you speak to DiVincenzo and how he contributed to the Bucks when they was winning in the playoffs, and how he played with the Knicks in the playoffs, and what he means to be a playoff, the DiVincenzo impact as a playoff player coming off the bench and being in a rotation. I wanted to ask you, can you just make it hurt for the Knicks? Because they didn't have like 39 for the Knicks.
Oh no.
You know what I'm saying? So how do you feel about him in the playoffs?
I love DiVincenzo in the playoffs. I love DiVincenzo just on that roster. So when you have a 6'4", 6'5" shooter who's a tough-nosed defender which you can't have enough of those on your crew. And you got him on the cheap. Let's make sure we remember that part. You got him on the cheap. His deal is only his deal is 3 years at 35-36 million. So I think he was the best. I think statistically, I think he was the best sharpshooter in the game last year. To have that on your crew, and you get and now we have that on our crew, and we got it for cheap. So I got a guy like Mike Conley creating shots for him. I got a guy like Julius Randle creating shots for him, and on the other end, I got him guarding. I got him competing on defense, and he's durable because you saw what happened last year when he played with the Knicks. You saw what happened. He will play.
Didn't he have a game when he had like 39?
Yes, and he will be on the floor. He is going to play. Let's make sure that we clear on that. He's going to play. So with him being on the floor, and with what they have with Julius Randle creating shots for him, and I don't think that we give DiVincenzo enough credit for his ability to get downhill, because he get downhill, he can get to the rim too. And I can't emphasize this enough. The fact that you gave him away, he was almost like a throw-in for that little bit of money that he was that little bit of money that he had on his contract. And I think that Minnesota is getting a bargain. I think they're getting a bargain for that little bit of money.
Nah, facts. I ain't gonna hold you, man. I got dad duty, man. Yo, shout to you,
Yes,
Chill. I'm watching. I'm in the chat.
Yes, sir. Talk to you later, brother. I'm a big fan of DiVincenzo. I dig him. I dig what he does. I dig what he does as a long ball shooter. I dig what he does as a spot up shooter. I dig everything about his game, everything, and what he did in the playoffs last year. That like what he did in the playoffs last year. Just considering everything that they had, his ability to get stops. I mean, if you let Tyrese Halliburton tell it, Tyrese Halliburton was kicking his ass. Not really. I mean, Tyrese Halliburton, he had to make tough shots on DiVincenzo. I'll live with Tyrese Halliburton shooting fall away 26-footers. Knock yourself out, brother. Go ahead. You can shoot that shit all night long. I will live with that all night long. You can shoot that, no doubt about it. So a guy in DiVincenzo who could get downhill, who could get to the rim, who the majority of his shots last season was at the long ball line. I think 70% of his shots he shot at the long ball line. Yep, and made 40% of them. 70% of his shots he shot at the long ball line and made 40% of them. I mean, damn. I don't know. I don't know how many guys I can say in the league are like that. I don't know how many guys are in the league that can say that they're doing that. I'll live with that. So, what up?
What's going on?
What up?
I'm not gonna get angry. I'm not gonna get pissed off. But what the hell was Bobby thinking with this Paul Pierce agenda that he was trying to push on that damn weekend? Like that was, I probably should. I don't think he's been live since. And when I see his ass, I'm definitely let him know that he's out of pocket. I mean, you always say out of pocket shit. I'm just like, you know what? I'm befuddled to it. But the thing about the narrative of the Eastern Conference being weak, it's never about how the season went. It's always about how the playoffs go. And and last year, it creates that narrative when the healthiest team is running into teams when the healthiest and the best team by a mile, by like we talking about you going from here to here. Hold up, that's my camera. That's you already know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to talk about them because you already know how I feel about everything they stand for. Shout out to Drew Holiday for the carry job that he did. But when that team has that much of a health gap and a talent gap over their competition, then that's what creates that narrative. It's never the season. So everything that you're talking about is 100% true. Now, another question I wanted to ask you was, how many teams you got in the West winning 50 games?
All the playoff teams.
All the playoff teams. All six
playoff teams. All 8 of them. I got all 8 of them. It's going to take. I think this season it's going to take 50 games. It's going to take 50 wins to get in the playoffs. Yes.
So I'm gonna just break down my West 1 through. I say 1 through 10.
Yep.
I got OKC at 1.
60 wins.
Dallas at 2.
I think they win 50 plus games.
Minnesota at 3.
I think they're at the top of the West. I think they win 60 games too. Close to it. Yes.
Memphis at 4.
I think they win 55 games.
Phoenix at 5.
I think Phoenix is a play-in team. They might be on the outside looking in.
Denver at 6.
Denver's going to win 50 games.
Sacramento at 7.
I got Sacramento winning 50 plus games.
I got the who is this? What I got? Pelicans at 8.
I don't got the Pelicans making the playoffs. I think they win 42, anywhere between 42 and 45 games.
Lakers at 9.
I think the Lakers I think they make the playoffs, but I think that they right there at 50 games.
Rockets at 10.
I think the Rockets are Sacramento. I think they are OKC. I think they Memphis. I think they win 50. I think they win 55 games this year. Maybe between 50 and 55 games they win this year. That also means that the teams that don't make the playoffs, like Portland, Utah,
San Antonio.
I don't think those teams are going to be as good as people think they're going to be.
Clippers and Warriors are in the on 11 to 15.
Which by the way, you're gonna love this. I think the Warriors are gonna suck this year. I don't think they're gonna be bad. I think they're gonna be garbage. I think that Steph Curry, by the time the trade deadline comes, you're gonna hear hitting chirps that Steph Curry is asking out. I think they're gonna be garbage.
Yeah, right. Listen, he ain't going no damn way, man. Stop that. You're making $62 million. I'm very, very high on what Memphis is about to do. Memphis, I see them winning between 51 and 49 games. So if I want to be realistic about it, I see them around that mark. The Zach Edey is probably the best intangible player for them, and I think don't they got Brandon Clark coming back?
Yes, they do.
And that's gonna help, because what made them peak at top 2, if I'm not mistaken, a couple of years ago, was the fact that they was the best.
No, they were 2. I'm sorry, they were the second.
Yeah.
They lost to the Lakers. That's correct.
Right. What made them peak at top 2 in the year that they lost to the Warriors was the fact that they was the best rebounding team for 2 years, for that 2-year period, bar none. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think the only team that was behind them was maybe the Bucks. And you already know how you feel about the Bucks. Dallas, I think this is the year where Luka is going to finally win MVP. I think this is the year. I can see it. I think it's he's going to play a good amount of games without Kyrie Irving. Not that many. I say about a good 10 plus games without Kyrie Irving. But in those games, he's going to go ballistic. I personally believe. And with the addition of Klay Thompson and Najee Marshall, you got some floor space in there, man. That's kind of what they needed. I do agree with what you said about Derek Lively, and I don't think the young man Adrian was considerably know what you was talking about when you talked about his ability to flash some screens and his ability to show his playmaking ability at the free throw line, what he does there. And he got a pretty decent jump shot too. For a lot of people have.
I thought he was a project, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be a project his rookie year. He was a lot better than what I thought he was. A lot.
And the kid that reminds me of him is the kid that plays for the Pelicans, Messi. So keep an eye out on him during the season, because he got the same qualities. So that was the one on them. Now Minnesota is a bit tricky, because I don't think that Julius Randle wants to stay there, and that's part of the reason why the Knicks pulled the trigger on his trade, because he wanted there was something with the extension. I think he wanted more money or something like that. But we got to remember, he's a 2-time All-NBA player. You get money from that. And I think if he makes All-NBA team this year, which that's kind of a stretch, man. I mean, I don't really.
Minnesota's going to pay him. That's why he's going to ball out for that reason.
But I don't know if he wants to stay in Minnesota.
If they paying, he ain't going nowhere. Because if you think about what's going on with the Knicks and what's going on with it's not like he got traded to the Trailblazers, Leaf. He didn't get traded to Charlotte.
I know.
He basically in the same situation. He's basically in the same situation that he was in with the Knicks. I'm on a championship contender. I'm on a team that's battling to get to the NBA Finals. We are not that far away, and I'm in a contract year. So number one, I got to make sure that I'm in line. I got to make sure that I'm on page with everybody here. Number two, I got a ball, and if I rock, I get paid. That was the problem with the Knicks.
Yeah,
So,
I dig that. Now the thing with the Suns is we got to remember they got a distributor now. They got Tyus Jones, who was averaging 7 assists and 1 turnover, respectively, last year with Washington. So now they got somebody that's gonna like set the tone. That's what they were missing.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So like that is at least they 48 wins or plus. At least, and I see them as a top 6 in the West. That brings me to Denver. I think Denver has been reduced. And you talked about Christian Braun getting better. I think that can happen, but I think it's baby steps. And what I mean by that is he's going to have nights where he may have a play run for him down the stretch, or he may or Joker may hit him for like some open cuts. Obviously, we all know how the playmaker that Joker is. He's going to get anybody easy baskets because that's what he does. I think their depth is kind of lacking a bit. It's not what
do we need to run action for Christian Braun? Or do we just need him to make open shots and play defense like what KCP did?
Both.
No.
Oh.
I just think we need to get him open. Yes. All we need to do is get him to make open shots like KCP did and defend. The guys that are bucket getters on this crew are Aaron Gordon, MPJ, and Jamal Murray. Those are your guys. I need Christian Braun to knock down open shots, get in a stance, get his feet moving, get his hands busy, and speed the game up. I don't need to run action for him like that. I don't.
I mean, but when you look at Christian Braun when he's in the lineup with Joker, how much is he getting assisted off of Joker or for anybody else?
Well, that's action throughout the offense. They're not running anything specifically for him.
Yeah, I understand that, but I mean, in terms of like when I look at him as a long ball shooter or like somebody that's going to be open for open shots, I see him as mostly like a cutter, like because he could definitely. They run a lot of backdoor cuts for him, like, all right, you getting an open cut and things like that. So that's kind of action within itself. My thing is
that's everybody though. That's not just him. That's Jamal Murray.
Yeah.
That's MPJ. That's everybody.
Yeah, but the guys that's standing at the long ball line, outside of KCP, of course you're gonna have MPJ who's throwing that bitch up 9 times out of 10.
He's never seen a shot that he doesn't like. He's
exactly never seen a shot. Jamal Murray and Joker are in the pick and roll. Aaron Gordon is occupying the dunk box at most times, and maybe sometimes he'll be in the corner, maybe hit a 3 or 2. But most of the action that's run for Christian Braun, if there is action at all, is mostly backdoor cuts, slips to the basket. You could get a layup. He maybe hit a corner 3 here and there, but Christian Braun. In transition too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, transition too.
That's where Russ comes in.
Yeah.
So
all right, I like it, but the Rockets. Now I'm gonna get to the Rockets because you was high on the Rockets. I'm not as high on the Rockets simply because of the fact of I'm trying to see what steps the rest of their young talent are gonna take, like up. You talked about Jabari Smith. Jabari Smith, I think he could be a good defender. I just don't really see it yet. I see a bit. I see he could be. He could possibly be where Jonathan Isaac is someday. Possibly. Dylan Brooks, he's definitely giving them an identity defensively, just being a tough, just doing the little things, the dirty work type of guy that he is.
If Jonathan Isaac played more, is he an all-league defender?
Yes.
And I think the same thing happens with Jabari Smith because he's healthy and he plays more. So, Leaf, I'd love to talk to you, but I got to keep it moving, brother. I definitely like to keep it moving. I'll see you soon, no doubt. So, I'm interested to see what happens with these dudes. So, I'm going to leave you guys with this, and I stand on it. I will go to my grave with it. Stop letting these guys off the hook. Stop trading these guys. Stop asking for this guy or that guy. You have the necessary pieces. Make these guys get better. Stop letting these, especially when the money works, especially when you got them in a contract that works for you. When the money works, and you got them in a, and you have them in a space where the money works for you, where you're not overpaying a guy, and you got to get off this contract. Stop letting these guys off the hook. Make these guys get better. Demand that they get better. Don't let Bam walk out the front door. Do not let Jabari Smith just go. Don't do that. Make these guys get better. Your teams will be better longer, especially when you have these guys in contract situations that's conducive to your unit. I got to bounce. It was good to see you guys tonight. I will see you guys soon. Until then, put on a suit, drink water. Don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. When last time you talk to your mother? Call your mother. I'll talk to you guys soon, man. Until then, take it light.